This video will serve as a brief introduction to the 751 Mini-Taubes organ bath system. This system can be used to test the force output from rings or strip tissues. While a traditional organ bath is a 4-channel high-throughput system, the 751 is a single channel that can be run completely independently from another system. This makes the system ideal for teaching purposes while also allowing for research-grade experimentation in the downtime. Each system is entirely self-contained and can be run independently from a neighboring system. Mounting is done by raising the tissue supports out of the bath. The bottom support is fixed in place while the top is connected to our force transducer. This force transducer is very robust and durable, which will stand up well in the event that students are not as careful with the equipment. You have the ability to adjust the alignment of the bottom support as well as the top by stretching and raising and lowering the force transducer support, which will stretch your tissue once it's mounted. The tissue chamber itself is accessed by opening the door. You can remove the tissue chamber itself for cleaning. The tissue chamber and the tissue supports can be cleaned elsewhere, and they are interchangeable, so they do not have to go to the exact same system. Each tissue chamber has a temperature probe to monitor the temperature, as well as an air stone to allow for bubbling in the chamber. Heating is actually controlled by 2 air vents in the chamber area. You can lower the tissue mounts back down after mounting. You have the ability to adjust the amount of gas done using the needle valve. There's also a locking support that holds the bottom part in place. You can open the door to access the internal tubing that everything will run through. This makes replacing the tubing very easy after a certain number of experiments. The front panel has everything needed to fully utilize the system. You can set the temperature control for your buffers. There are 2 buffers in the 751. One will be your normal buffer. The second will be an agonist buffer that will allow for tissue responses. You can also set the chamber temperature, which controls the heating in the chamber area. You can adjust the target set point for your heat, as well as turning the heat on and off. You have the ability to select which buffer you would like to fill your chamber, as well as the option to use the rapid draining that is built in to the back of the system. You can zero the force before your tissue responses, as well as run a force calibration. You also have the ability to set the force range for your transducer. On the back of the 751, we have our switch for turning the power on and off. There's also a port to connect to a gas tank, which will be used to bubble the tissue. There's a connection for a vacuum source, which will be used for the rapid draining of all of the liquid in the tissue chamber. This is the connection for the power supply. The USB is used if you are going to be going directly to the data acquisition system, such as Myodac or LabChart. If you wish to use another data acquisition, there's a connection for the BNC cable. Lastly, there is a connection for a grounding, which should eliminate any electrical noise being collected with your data. The accessories that come with the 751 include suture, which will be used for stringing up tissue strips, a 5-gram calibration weight, brown grease, 2 wrenches that will be used for aligning the tissue supports, replacement tubing, a USB stick with documentation and any data acquisition, tubing and clamps to connect to the gas tank, the USB cable, and lastly the power supply. For more information and support, please refer to the DMT website or additional resource videos.